brought to the fore more insidious forms of racism and ethnocentrism. It also did little to mend the vast divide between white and black Americans over racial policy. Americans today remain more polarized around issues of race than ever. These tensions took center stage during the 2016 presidential election, with the Republican candidacy and election of Donald Trump. Over the course of his campaign, Trump spoke disparagingly of Muslim and Mexican immigrants. He proposed to halt refugees entering the country and promised to build a wall along America's southern border to stop the flow of immigrants from Mexico. Vowing to put America first, Trump warned of the dangers of globalization. Outside of Trump's campaign rallies, protesters, many of whom were black or Latino, clashed, sometimes violently, with white Trump supporters. Hostilities mounted even further when, only days after taking office, President Trump signed an executive order banning citizens from 7 Muslim-majority nations from entering the country. Much of Trump's first year as president was marked by public outcry over immigration policies many regarded as draconian. It appears, to answer Clinton's earlier question, that our increasingly diverse nation has, in many ways, divided us. What explains these rifts? Why are white Americans mobilizing en masse around issues of racial and ethnic diversity? And why were so many white Americans drawn to a candidate like Donald Trump, who was often derisive of racial and ethnic minorities, and whose campaign focused on curbing immigration and rejecting international trade agreements? Why do we now seem to be witnessing a backlash to globalization, a widespread desire to close our nation's borders, to restrict immigration, and to stay out of foreign affairs? And why have hostilities between whites and other racial and ethnic minorities grown in recent years? Some of this backlash is rooted in prejudice, racism, and ethnocentrism. But as I will show, a great deal of many whites' reactions to our country's changing racial landscape do not simply manifest in outward hostility. Amidst these changes, many whites have described themselves as outnumbered, disadvantaged, and even oppressed. They have voiced their anxiety over America's waning numerical majority and have questioned what this means for the future of the nation. They have worried that soon they may face discrimination based on their own race, if they do not already. These sentiments hint at the fact that the growing non-white population, the pending loss of whites' majority status, and the increasing political and economic power of people of color in the United States has a second consequence. For a number of whites, these monumental social and political trends, including an erosion of whites' majority status and the election of America's first black president, have signaled a challenge to the absoluteness of whites' dominance. These threats, both real and perceived, have, as I will demonstrate, brought to the fore for many whites a sense of commonality, attachment, and solidarity with their racial group. They have led a sizable proportion of whites to believe that their racial group and the benefits that group enjoys are endangered. As a result, this racial solidarity now plays a central role in the way many whites orient themselves to the political and social world. In this book, I examine the rise and consequences of white identity politics. My argument is rooted in the notion that an identity, a psychological, internalized sense of attachment to a group, can provide an important cognitive structure through which individuals navigate and participate in the political and social world. A great body of evidence indicates that as humans, our need to belong, to see ourselves as similar to others with whom we share common goals, is innate. We are, so to speak, primed to adopt group attachments around our social groupings, whether they be based on religion, occupation, or something else. Not surprisingly, these identities can profoundly influence our political preferences and behavior. This solidarity and whites' desire to protect their group's interests plays a key role in today's most important and pressing political and social issues. Over the course of this book, I will show that